Wait, you have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. You don't need a TV. Television addict! Television addict! Television addict!
I am Ken Reed, your TV guidance counselor. I want to thank you for checking out the show. This is a live edition of TV Guidance Counselor, our second live edition, the first being the one with Amy Sedaris we did at New York Super Week last month. This month, as part of the Boston Comedy Festival, it was an honor to have Mr. Emmanuel Lewis as my guest. Webster was a show that I watched every week growing up, and I watched it more than that when it was in syndication. I know a lot of people in my generation watched this show frequently, and it made a huge impact. It comes up frequently on the show, so it was amazing to get to talk to him. He's a great guy with a pretty incredible life story, as you will hear in this episode, but really personable and just really easy to talk to. It was pretty amazing. So please enjoy this live edition, or if you were there, you can relive the fun of this live edition of TV Guidance Counselor with Emmanuel Lewis.
Welcome. Thank you so much for doing the show. We got a mic there for you. Thank you so much for doing the show.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
This is an honor because your show comes up, Webster comes up very frequently on the podcast. Yeah, I'll hold it too. That makes more sense instead of just, I have that ability.
Little awkward.
Yeah. So, sort of my first question for you is, how does a kid from Brooklyn get to become a major network television star? How did that happen?
A lot of hard work at first. We did like at least 50 or 60 commercials.
Yeah, you did. Burger King was like kind of the big one for you, right?
That was the one that got ABC's attention.
Okay.
President Lou Ehrlich at the time, it got his attention, and from that they decided that they wanted to develop a show.
So when you were about what, 8 or 9 years old, probably when you started doing commercials?
I was 9 years old.
9 years old.
Yeah.
So what was the catalyst for that? You just something you wanted to do, or?
You know, there was another actor, big ups to Ray Fullbeam.
Okay.
He was in my neighborhood, and I ran into him, literally, and we started talking, and he's like, you should be in show business, and we've got an audition around the corner.
So it was like a classic Hollywood story in Brooklyn where it was like, hey, kid, you got what it takes, let's go.
Yeah, almost something like that. You know, it was funny because I bumped into him and I started asking him questions because, you know, we were in Brooklyn, and you know, you really see a whole lot of white dudes running around the neighborhood.
Well, if you did see them, they were probably running.
He was literally running.
Yeah, so that wasn't unusual.
And so I was just curious. Nobody's chasing you when you're running.
Right.
And so no, it was a great opportunity. And as long as I asked him questions, he was cool. And then he started asking me questions. I was like, I can't talk to strangers. You got to talk to mom.
Right. Talk to my agent too.
Yeah. So after asking him questions for like 10 minutes, he's like, what's your name? Oh, I can't talk to you.
Right. What's your address?
Yeah, so I gave it to my mom, and he met with her, I think, a day or two later, and next thing I knew, I was going on auditions.
And what was the first commercial that you, like, what was the first thing that
The first commercial audition I ever went to was Campbell's Soup.
Okay.
And I got that job.
So you're like, this is easy, man.
You know, I really, you know, have no idea what to expect, but,
Right.
You know, it got me out of school for a day. I thought
That's
that was
pretty good.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. So you got Campbell's Soup, and then when that started airing, did people start recognizing you? Or like, did kids from your neighborhood start to give you...
You know, it took a minute for, like, you know, it's just like, it's like you really don't know whether that's like a career. You just
Right.
know that it was a great situation.
Might be a one-off kind of
It
thing.
was fun, and you don't really think about it in a career for the first job.
Right.
It wasn't until like 30 commercials later that you realize, okay, we might actually have something here.
Right, and 30 commercials is a lot of commercials.
It's a lot of work, but we were, you know, working very hard, going to Manhattan, very, very often, and clocking jobs from Colgate to Life Cereal to Jello pudding.
Oh, yeah.
All of that.
I mean, you were I saw you hawking everything at that time. Was there ever a product that you had to, you don't have to say the name of the product if you don't want to. Was there ever anything that you had to be in the commercial for and you're like, I hate this? Like you're just eating it?
No, actually, it was really wild because it's like, as a kid, you're like, I love Life's commercial, Life cereal commercial.
I get to be in it?
I love Burger King. I get free burgers. Oh, you're kidding? This is great. Fisher Price, Jello pudding with Bill Cosby. It's a kid's dream to have all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're not like advertising Preparation H or something, things like that kids
it
don't want.
It was all true to a kid, and all of it was like, I get free stuff. No, you just get your check. And you can enjoy whatever's here at this commercial.
Would kids like try to get you to go to Burger King with them? So they'd be like, if I go with Manny, I'm set up. Like they're just going to give us a stack of burgers.
They actually, when we did the show, we had like a box of like cards with my face on it.
Right.
That I could go and get free Burger Kings anywhere around the world.
So you had like a James Bond license to kill for burgers?
It was like crazy. I wish I could find that box right now, but
I like that it had to have your face on it because they're like, I guess this is you.
The Burger King logo, it had all kind of stuff written down in the back of it, and I promise you, I wore those cards out.
Were they like one-time use only? Was it like a one-time use, or did you have where you had like a limited amount?
It looked like a box of business cards.
Okay.
So I had like a whole thing.
But every time you used one, you saw that getting less and less. You must have been like, oh no.
Well,
I only got 2 left.
No, listen, you know, in New York, you didn't go out very much.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, it's a neighborhood. We didn't actually have a Burger King in our neighborhood. You had your local Chinese restaurant, you had your Italian pizza shop, and your convenience store. That's pretty much. You literally had to go out to do that. So I literally got it while I was working is when I actually got it to go.
Because if that was me, I'd still have like 2 of those cards on me. just like, I don't know if I'll have an emergency. I'll have it in a glass case or something.
It was awesome. I'm not even gonna lie, but I started carrying a wallet as a kid. You know, of course, there's no money in it, but I had
just your Burger King card.
But I had my Burger King card.
Well, because it would serve as an ID as well. Like if you get stopped, can you see your license?
I had no ID in that thing. It was Burger King.
Well, you have a Burger King card with your face on.
And maybe I'd have $5 stash or something like that.
You don't need it. You could have the Burger King card.
Yeah. Well, I still needed something.
That's true. So. Did you ever try to pay for other things? Like get on the subway and be like, "This is a Burger King card." I don't think you understand. So you're not only a child, right? You have a couple siblings?
I have 2 brothers, 1 sister. I'm my mom's son.
Older or younger?
I'm the baby of the month.
Okay, so when you started doing this stuff, what did they think of that?
You know, I don't know what they thought. I was too busy enjoying it, you know?
Right. Well, it's probably good that you don't know what they thought because it could have been.
It could have been bad, but, you know, I was actually putting in the work and I was getting the reward. So I guess, you know, the motto here is do the same. They had the same opportunity to do stuff. And I performed with my brother and they did acting stuff. So they were all older. They had more privileges than I had. And I was still the kid on the TV or commercial, but they're older. They always had more privileges.
You guys could have done this. You just didn't think of it.
Well, you know, they were into other stuff. You know.
And were your parents were they inclined to performance, or was this completely different?
This was completely different. I mean, we weren't like the Jacksons, any kind of like that. We had the performing mom or dad or anything like that. No, it wasn't like that at all. We just something that took place, and and it just. My brother did Fame, so it's not like he had good credits. He did soap operas, so he had some pretty good stuff. My other brother did print work, and he did some soap opera stuff.
And was that after though you started working? They kind of came to the business.
Well, we have the same agent, so putting the whole family to work.
Right. I can't get you him, but I can get you something close.
Right. Yeah.
So what did you used to watch? I mean, you're 9 years old, but what were the TV shows that you used to watch at that time when you were a kid growing up? Like, what were some of the things that you loved watching every week?
I mean, you had the Bunkers, you had Jeffersons, you had Good Times, Sanford and Son.
Right, so you're watching the sitcoms.
And you didn't really understand all the jokes, but you understood, some of the funny stuff with Red Fox. And of course, cartoons. I mean, Tom and Jerry, oh my God, we memorized Tom and Jerry.
Especially you probably watching on PIX or something in the
afternoon. Oh my God, that was the thing. Right after school, my grandma was watching us once, And remember they used to have the game, I think it was on
Oh
Saturdays.
yeah, where you dial in.
And you have to dial in
Yep.
and you yell in pitch on
Yep.
the TV screen trying to play the game.
So this was like an early version of interactive television.
Yeah.
So they would have like a number board, like 1 through
Right.
9, and it would usually be like a memory game. Like
Yeah.
they'd show you they'd flip a card over and then be like, "Where's the other Jerry?" And you'd have to press 9 or yell 9.
You have to yell that, and you have to yell picks, and it's some type of game. I can't even remember all the details on it, but we were just yelling picks, picks. Oh, come on, guys! You know how you yell at the TV, right? And then my grandma was like, picks, picks. Who the hell got a piss? Just go to the bathroom. She had no idea what we were.
Because what a way to tell your grandmother you need to go.
Yeah.
Grandma, piss! Now!
That's the guys out of shit.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like, just go to the bathroom. Just,
Well,
you
PAX
got to keep yelling it.
Right, don't just yell. You can go on you don't need to ask. WPX was sort of the UHF station in New York City that we used to get here in Boston, weirdly, because it was a superstation. But that aired so many great kids shows. They used to have a show called Steam Pipe Alley that Mario Cantone used to host for a while that showed a lot of cartoons. There's a lot of weird stuff on there. And they used to do Shocktober every month.
We would throw the book bag down in the room just to hurry up and get to the TV so we can watch all that stuff.
Did you have to sort of negotiate with your older siblings about what you could watch, or were you all kind of all on board with whatever it was?
No, they were older. They pretty much ruled.
Right. So you're watching whatever, which makes sense that you're watching like Good Times in these older shows. Yeah.
You just sat down and, whoever, the rule was whoever turned the TV on first, pretty much.
That could lead to some violent
So they always
interactions.
got home before we did. So, we just came in, we saw them watching, you just sit your butt down and watch TV. There was
I guess this is what we're watching.
Yeah. There's no fight about it, though.
But to me, I mean, that seems like was probably kind of annoying at the time. But for kids now who don't have to develop the skill of being patient, or like just being like, I didn't want to watch this, but I ended up enjoying it because they can watch whatever they want on their phone in their closet. They don't have to talk to anybody.
It's either that or go do your homework. Oh, I'll watch what you're watching.
I'll watch whatever you're watching. Whatever you're watching. So you get this Burger King commercial was kind of the thing that everyone really noticed you about. It was a series of commercials.
Yeah.
I remember the one
got a Clio for a few
absolutely.
Clio awards for that,
Yeah.
and it just kind of like, I don't know, just caught on fire, and then we were starting shooting them everywhere. It was great.
And so from that, you started to get, was Webster before you started getting things like the Bob Hope specials, or you were on like Star Search?
We did start Webster about the age of 12,
Right.
And then from that point on, we started doing a lot of specials,
Right.
a lot of different stuff.
So Webster was sort of and correct me if I'm wrong, this is what I've heard, and obviously you would know, I don't necessarily, but Alex Karras and Susan Clark had a sitcom they were developing called Then Came You that was supposed to be just like a couples sitcom, kind of just about them. I think they were like married on a whim or something like that. The president of the network goes, this kid's great, we got to get him on a show, and kind of mash those two things together. Is that kind of what happened?
I mean, I've heard that version.
Right.
I've heard that version. But we went to meet, we were summoned by the president.
Was it Fred Silverman?
We were with Lou Ehrlich, who was the president of ABC.
Right.
We were summoned to come to LA to meet him.
Was that the first time you'd been to LA?
That was the first time I've been to LA. Well, no, actually, I think that was the second time I've been to LA.
Right.
The first time I was out there was for Life Cereal.
Okay.
So I'd come back out to LA to see them at ABC. There things happen with the stars over there. And we had to meet with him in the office. And
it's probably pretty intimidating. Although it's either the kind of thing where you're 9 years old and you're not intimidated because you don't care.
I was 12 and I was not intimidated whatsoever.
Yeah, because you don't know. Well, who cares?
My authority was my mother.
Right.
Okay? If she's good, everything's good.
Right. And she's with you, so nothing's gonna happen.
As long as she's smiling, I'm smiling. All right.
It's a good negotiating tool.
So if Mom was all right, then there's no one else could intimidate me more than my mother.
That's probably
good. She was God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that was it. And we communicated with him, and the words from his lips was that we're going to create a show around you.
Right.
And we have some ideas, and we're going to work it out. I heard the Stu Silverman, who was the actual creator of Webster, tell his version of it. and you know, they were working on a development with them.
Right.
And he wanted to work with the development with me.
Right.
And I don't know exactly if the name of it for them was Then Came You. I don't think it was, to be honest, because if they were Then Came You before I came,
Right. Who came first?
Then who came?
Right.
So the Then Came You story was about this kid
Right.
that, you know, came into the life through their father was
Played on the football team with Alex Karras's character.
Yeah, it was like my godfather.
Right.
So Alex Karras was my godfather
Right.
in the whole idea.
It'd be
And,
weird if the show was called Webster before they even talk to you, and they're like,
Right.
well, "Who is Webster?" I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's what we're trying to figure out. We have no idea.
So I don't think that it could have been Then Came You with them,
Right.
and then I came in, and it's not logistically.
There's no logic to it.
Yeah, exactly. So then it went from, actually it was called Another Ball Game first.
Okay.
That was the original name of the TV show, Another Ball Game. And then when I came on board, they decided, oh, we want to change the name. So then
Right.
Then Came You.
Okay.
And then right when it was about to air, I was doing some interview with Johnny Carson.
Right.
He said,
I like how you casually put that. I was doing some interview with Johnny Carson.
well, you know,
Yeah.
he's the actual, the one to inform me the new name of the show.
Johnny Carson did.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good person to break news to you.
Well, it was awesome. I got a chance to, you know, meet the great, the legend, and at the time I really didn't know much about it. My bedtime was like 10 o'clock.
That's pretty late.
Or 9, you know, depending on if it was the weekend or
Right.
or weekday. So you know, if you see reruns or anything like that.
You know the name, if not the show, I'm sure. Like,
Yeah, we you know, on Friday nights
Right.
we you know, right before we say, if we see Carson, we stay up long enough, we get the
SCTV.
wrestling.
Oh, wrestling. Yeah, Saturday night's main event was on.
Yeah,
Oh,
on Friday night, 12 o'clock midnight, wrestling came on. And if
Yeah.
we could stay up long enough, because most of the time we'd fall asleep trying to see it, but if we could stay up long enough, we'd see
Your
wrestling.
reward was wrestling.
So you try and watch Johnny Carson because you're right there, you know, when,
Right.
when it's about to come on. So
Did you tell that to him? I used to watch you if I was trying to stay awake for wrestling. He's like, I hear that a lot. I get that all the time.
No, he did not know that. But so that's how I found out. And I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
I said, are you sure? Because I don't want to say that and they
Right.
get mad at me
Right.
for, you know, telling everybody that
Great.
it's my show. And it's, you know, so he's like, no, it's okay. Trust me, I got
Yeah,
this.
I'm Johnny Carson.
Yeah,
If it
exactly.
wasn't called this before, it is now.
Yeah. So he was trying to very much assure me. I'm like, are you sure? Don't get me in trouble,
Right.
you know? So he's like, yeah. So that's kind of like how I knew.
Found out they were
you know,
focusing on your character.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So you start doing that show. The first season was kind of very different from the other 5 seasons of the show. It was in an apartment building. It focused a lot on Alex Karras and Susan Clark's character.
Yeah, coming together.
Were you familiar with Alex Karras at least before that? Because he had like, he'd been in Blazing Saddles, which you probably hadn't seen as a child. Porky's, which you probably also, I hope, haven't seen as a child.
No.
Or
No, I
any of his
didn't-
football
I
career.
didn't know much of that at the time prior to the first pilot.
Right.
So when the pilot season came and we were about to emerge to do this, then I started to learn more about, you know, their credits.
Right. Because they were a real life couple. They were really
Yeah,
married.
they're a real life couple, and of course, you know, I all those movies and stuff that he's done was
Yeah.
awesome. But you know, being a linebacker for the
Yeah.
Detroit Lions, I think that
That was
probably
the
got
thing
my
that did it for
respect
you.
more than anything else.
Yeah, yeah.
But my mom loved football, and we watched football, you know, all the time.
Who
So
was your
that
team?
My mom, she loved the Bears.
Okay. Because it'd be bad if she like hated the Detroit Lions.
No. She loved football generally, but she loved
Right.
the Bears. She loved the 49ers. You know, just we watched. She loved football. Period.
So did you get to go to games with Karras when you're on the show?
No,
No. Really?
never went to one football game.
Really?
No.
I'm a little upset. But was your mom upset?
I don't think he was like really into it like that.
Right.
It's like he done it,
moved
you
on.
know, whatever,
Right,
you
moved
know.
on.
So no, well, we did go deep sea fishing once.
That's like the football of the sea.
That
What did you catch anything?
Oh, we caught albacore tuna.
That's a big fish.
In Baja, Mexico. It was the best.
That sounds kind of terrifying.
It was.
Was it just
awesome.
you and him?
No, he had some family. We went to his house and my mom dropped me off, and we just, that's the first time I ever went deep sea fishing.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, that's an all-day
I've
affair,
been
too.
hooked ever since,
Do you go all the time now?
as much as I can.
That's pretty cool. Did you guys eat the albacore?
I don't remember eating the albacore.
Those are expensive. Those are like $100,000 in Japan.
It was huge. and I caught like 4 of them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That could have been a TV show in of itself. Like deep sea sport fishing.
It was awesome.
I think you missed a calling with that.
Maybe.
So what were some of the concepts that they pitched you before Webster? Because you said they had a couple of different shows they're going to build around. Did you remember any of those?
No, it wasn't a couple of shows. It was one show.
It was just
as far as what they explained to me, we're
Right.
going to build a show around you.
Right.
That's what.
So they
Earl
weren't
told
like,
me.
we could have you do this, you could do this or this. They
No,
were
he
like,
said
this
we're
is
going to
the
build
one
a show around you.
Okay.
That's what he said.
So the show starts airing, and you start popping up everywhere at that
Yes.
point. I mean, you were co-host, I think it was Star Search with Ed McMahon. I think you co-hosted an episode of that. You may not remember this.
I don't remember half of that
yeah.
stuff. It's a blur.
You did, I think, 3 or 4 specials with Bob Hope.
I love Bob Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And is that where you met Brooke Shields?
I met Brooke Shields there. Yes,
Yeah. Because you used to go to a lot of the award shows with her, correct?
we went to I think 2 award shows together, but I had already worked with her, at the military bases with Bob Hope.
So you were doing the USO stuff.
Yeah, I was doing some stuff. Yeah.
So you're 12, 13 years old and you're traveling to USO military bases?
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's crazy.
That was the best.
How would that work? So like would Bob Hope come in and be like, hey, how you doing? Here's what we're doing. Would he give you like what you're
Oh
doing?
yeah, we had a script. We would rehearse. It'd be tight.
Right. So there were sketches.
He's
and,
he's a perfectionist.
Oh yeah. I mean, he'd been doing it for like 40 years at that
Yeah.
point too.
At that time, he was like crazy. Just
How much did you travel? Like where did you go to like some foreign countries and stuff?
yeah, we performed for the King and Queen of Sweden.
Really?
And that was pretty awesome. Yeah.
Jeez. So then you also had a single in Japan, right? Didn't
Yeah.
you have a hit single?
That was all before Webster.
That was before Webster.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Oh, that was before my television career. That I had a hit #1 single in Japan. I forgot to mention that. Sometimes I forget.
Well,
So that came out of the commercials?
yes, actually, that's exactly how I did a commercial for Clarion.
Okay.
And that was our Japanese connection.
Yep.
It was called City Connection.
Okay.
And the commercial was so popular that they literally followed up with another situation. So the actual single that I recorded was for the commercial.
Okay.
But it was so popular that we started to tour with it. We did 3 shows a day in 3 different cities in Japan. And it became #1 on the Billboard chart.
Yeah. So this is, you're
I think
like
in 81.
10 years old or something, right?
Something like that, yeah.
So you'd never been to Japan, obviously, prior to that, I don't imagine.
No.
So what was that
We did
like?
TV movies, we did commercials, we performed live everywhere. It was really wild because in America, people was just still catching on to me doing the commercials. But in Japan, I was like a rock star. They'd meet you at the airport, paparazzi was there. Well, not different kind of paparazzi.
Oh, yeah.
It's
But there's
all
you're like the Beatles.
Yeah, it was crazy. All the news papers, magazines, and there's a slew of photographers taking pictures of you just coming off the airplane. I mean, it was crazy.
Did you try to learn Japanese?
I tried to learn a little bit.
It's difficult language.
It was very difficult.
Was it kind of, see, I would be very scared as a kid to go to a country where the first language is not English, just because I'm like, what if I get lost? What is going to happen?
It was just, life was just so fast, so interesting, so different. I mean, everything that we did was new and awesome and great, right?
So you didn't have a chance to sit and worry about it.
You don't even have time to really think about it.
Right.
All you have time for is to perfect your craft, go out there and do it. Perfect what else you're doing, go out there, execute.
What's the next
So
thing?
it was never about thinking about what it is that you were doing, other than the fact of whether or not you want to do it, whether or not it was good for us. That's it. Once you decided that, now this is the idea, the script, whatever.
It's amazing to me that, like, if I just think of kids I knew who are 10 years old, if you made them a #1 single pop star in Japan,
Yeah.
they would be the biggest monster on earth. Like they would be like, yeah, they're not good. Like they would just be like, yeah, you know, like. How did you deal with that as a kid? Like, were you like, this is a one-off thing, or did you feel like this is it now? Like this is my career now.
Well, I guess because at that time, especially 10, 11 years old, my mom had a great government job. She worked for the government. At that time, she had done computers. She went to school, college to do that stuff. So she had a really great government job. But my career was very, very busy. It was getting really crazy. She had to make one of those life choices that for today, I just respect her immensely for making that call. She had to make a choice
It's a
whether
risk.
or not to go after this career that she knows nothing about,
Right.
and give up her government job, which you guys know, it's the 40-40 plan. You don't
Right,
mess that up.
right.
You know, they play on time every freaking.
Yeah.
So to drop that and say I'm going to take a chance on one of my children to allow them to fly around the world, to
Yeah.
do this or whatever, and so it was a chance, and you know, best choice.
Yeah, and it sounds like she kept
But
you
you don't
grounded
know.
too.
You don't
Yeah.
know,
Oh no,
you
because
know?
your fate's kind of not in your hands. You
Yeah.
can just kind of work as hard as you can and do the stuff you do as good as you can do
Yeah.
it. But ultimately, it's not up to you if it works or not.
Yeah, we have no control over that. But you know, I'm the youngest of my siblings, and you know, mom's putting it down.
Right, right.
Just realized that it's just a great opportunity. Just very happy. I was actually a very shy kid at that time.
Really?
You know, you just realize that in order to perform, you gotta kind of come out, find out who you are, and just kind of like explode in your talent.
Did it take a lot to get you sort of psyched up to do these live shows and stuff like that in that case? Or were you kind of on board by that? Because you're singing, you're dancing, you're doing sketches.
You know,
that's
at first it was petrifying. I mean,
Yeah.
I was just like, it was just a lot.
Because it's so different from a commercial where it's like, I messed up, let's do it again. Like, you're in a live show at a USO base for like 10,000 soldiers.
You know, live shows for people you don't know
Right.
are a lot easier to do than live shows for your peers.
True, because if you disappoint them, it's kind of like not.
You know, you're going to hear it all day, that
Right.
day, next day, the next week, the next month, the next 5, 10 years for your
Right.
friends, right? But these people are never going to see you
That's
again.
true.
You know, you hope.
That's true.
If you screw it up.
In some
right?
respect, it's good that it's like some of that stuff in Japan because it's like, well, if this goes badly, who's gonna know?
But-
like in a
but-
pre-internet age.
Yeah, exactly. But it was more about being prepared. It was
Right.
more about rehearsals. It was more about perfecting what you were going to do before you get to stage. So you were so well rehearsed, so well prepared.
It couldn't go
that
wrong.
When you got on stage, it was a different level. You weren't doing your show as you rehearsed it. You were in the moment.
So
You
it's like
were
a second
living-
nature almost.
It was no. It was even more than that. It was, you know, when you've rehearsed and you've done a really good job and you put your all in it in your rehearsals, when you got a chance to perform it live, you were jamming in it. You were in a zone.
Right.
You were like
It's
you were
very zen.
playing with your art form at that time.
Right.
You know,
Did you think that at the time when you're 10? There's a fly that's really
got a fly that
harassing him.
loves my cologne?
Yeah. But did you look at it that way as a kid? Or
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were very serious about it.
Yeah. I mean, my mom quit her job.
Right.
I mean, you know.
So you were like, I gotta. This is
My mom
for
quit
real.
a job, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm right now the breadwinner about at the age of 10, 11 years old.
That's a lot of pressure.
You know, I guess it is if you can't handle it.
Right.
It is if you see it as a problem. It was something that you know I'm able to do. I'm
It was a good
somewhat
thing.
good at it,
Yeah.
and people seem to enjoy it. So if you work a little harder, then
Right.
you can be better at it.
It was an exciting thing that I'm
Yeah.
good at and it's helping, and not like we have no other option. So I guess it's not like you're going to work at
Yeah.
in a store because no one
It's
else. can do it.
exciting.
Yeah.
Traveling
Oh, yeah.
around the world.
Absolutely.
I'm playing with all these great entertainers, and they're enjoying it as well.
Has the Japanese single had a resurgence since then? Because that seems like the kind of thing that someone would cover it 10 years later.
You know, for years I would go back to Japan and perform that song live
Really?
and do interviews, and they were always very receptive.
That's pretty amazing. So you come back to the U.S. You get this show, Webster, that the name has changed to focus on your character. You're at this point on the show probably the most accomplished entertainer. To be fair, because you have Alex coming from the football world. He's done a couple movies. Susan Clark's done a couple movies with him. They did a couple TV movies. So you're kind of like the professional here in a lot of ways. So when you went in there, it sounds like you have this work ethic where the sitcom work is very fast-paced, which it seems like you're used to.
Yeah, we shot an episode a week, and it's like 60, 70 pages.
Yeah, Monday you have no idea what it's going to be, and by
Yeah.
Friday you have to have the whole thing down.
Well, before then, you get the script Sunday night, and you have to have it memorized by Tuesday, Wednesday. You're shooting Thursday and Friday.
So did you ever have a problem with that, or was
You
you
need to be
just
off
used to it?
script so that you can, you know, it's like you really have to know your stuff so
Yeah.
that you can perform it, not recite it.
Right, right. Which I think is two of the things that I think people really latched onto with you as an actor was that one, you were 12 and you were playing, I think Webster Long in the first season was 6 or 7. So you had the sort of wisdom of a 12-year-old, but also already, beyond your years anyway. So it's coming out of what people think is a 6 or 7-year-old, and they're like, I'm amazed at this person because it seems so natural.
That was fun.
Yeah, and you're just, I think there's two ways people have kid actors. They're either working on that level where they know what they're doing, or you have to have the kid who is almost so far the other way that they kind of think everything is real. So it feels real, which is not, I don't think, where you were coming from there.
No.
Yeah. But that's how they get performances out of kids sometimes. So you're doing this show. The first season set in an apartment building, which your character burned down.
Yeah. It was really wild because I remember it was someone else supposed to burn down the house, I think. I'm not exactly sure how they went around, and then they decided, you're going to do it. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be responsible. So we did it, and
you were firing rockets in the house doing a science experiment, and the entire apartment building burned down.
Yeah.
Were they like, all right, we're going to rework the show a little bit, we're going to put you in a house. And you're like, great. And they're like, but you're going to burn down the apartment building.
Yeah.
That's very weird. So one of the things about Webster is someone who, I grew up sort of religiously watching the show, and I was right in the age range for it.
Cool.
And it was a thing that was sort of unique to the 80s, where the tonal shifts of these shows was like whiplash. I mean, it was a very funny family sitcom. It could be very light, but would handle some pretty dark stuff. I mean, inherently, the show's about an orphaned child, so it's already sort of a dark concept, but a nice sort of loving relationship of this sort of new mixed family. And that was sort of part of the zeitgeist of the time, where there was a few orphan shows, because I think that's a kid's biggest fear, is that they'll be orphans. So I think all kids identify with that instantly.
Very much.
And you probably got a lot of letters and stuff about that, I imagine.
You learn a lot. I mean, when you're doing a show and every week you're getting a script, and every week there's in those times you had an issue and you solved them and you helped other people solve issues.
Right.
And you did it in a very funny, comedic way, and that was the goodness of shows back then.
Right.
They had a meaning, a purpose. It wasn't just punchline. You actually helped people through life.
Because families watched TV together then, which I think was sort of the last era that people did that. And you had a mix of age ranges. So when you have an episode about child molestation, or an episode about a home invasion, or an episode about some of this dark stuff, the family, at the very least, it opens up a dialogue. So even where you burn down the apartment building, it's kind of like, hey, don't do rockets in the house. Look what can happen. You know what I mean? But it gives them something to point to instead of because I said so. It's like you could look what happened to Webster.
Exactly. I was the don't do this.
Right. You're the cautionary example. Was there ever an episode that you would get and you're like, oh no, I don't want to have to do this?
I think that's kind of the funny part of great comedic work. I mean, you don't laugh at the straight guy. You laugh at the guy that's out of control. And so if I was the kid that was out of control, that's where the humor came from.
Right. So you were fine with it. You were like, I could do that. So another thing that confused me on the first season, Ben Vereen comes in, episode 7. He's Ben Vereen.
Yeah.
5 episodes later, he's Uncle Philip. I was 6 years old, and I was like, what's happening? Why is Ben Vereen and Uncle Philip, is the two guys that just look the same?
Well, he was Uncle Philip first. Right. But at the beginning of the episode, they kind of allude to it, I think. I don't know, it's like in a 3rd episode, that's entertainment. He alludes to being my uncle. He was away when the parents, died in the accident.
Showbiz.
He could not get me, but now that he's back, he wants to get me. So he was Uncle Phil first, and then we did a little, spin-off.
Right. Because you have Ben Vereen.
It helps ratings,
Yeah, because it helps ratings.
Helps ratings.
Absolutely, helps ratings. So when did you sort of realize that this show was huge? Because it got reworked a little bit, but it was a pretty sizable hit the first season. I mean, it connected with people.
You're working. You just try to, do what you can to make sure it's great.
So you're not looking at the numbers.
No, I mean, we did. We looked at the numbers. We have to, check out the Nielsen's ratings, and they would come in and they'd say we're this, we're that, and and we're kicking butt. And we knew how well we were doing, not so much by the Nielsen rating, but by the other shows that says they went up against, the other network put this show up against us.
And it's canceled.
And it got canceled.
Right.
So I was hearing it more from the other actors by, saying that they put up against you, we couldn't win.
Destroyed them.
And we canceled, but, it was great. And so you feel bad, but you realize,
that's the business.
wow, that's serious, but that's good.
Yeah. I mean, you're winning.
You know what I mean? You're like, that's good. We just put somebody out of work and we're number one.
So I should be happy about this?
Yeah. So it was very different. You can't really.
Because that didn't hit you in the commercials. They weren't like, did this Burger King commercial and they call it and they're like, hey, McDonald's is gone. We're out of business. Killed it.
Yeah.
It's not the same kind of thing.
It was different for commercials. It took about, I guess, 10, 11 years old before it started to really make a bigger difference in school and where I walked around when we tried to go places.
People would recognize it.
It got crazy. It got crazy, and we started needing security. And I remember one time that I think me and my mom would never forget. She was going shopping. She was going to school shopping to get us clothes, and we were in the store. Shopping is boring to me like any other kid, and there's a round rack where the clothes are.
Oh, did you hide inside?
And then there's the inside the rack. There's little way things.
It's the best clubhouse.
So you just sit in there, chill out, and I don't know, mentally your head would just go into another universe.
It's a children's teepee. I guess
It was.
Yeah. You're in a.
I'm glad you understand.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I used to go. Yeah. You're in a rack of Liz Claiborne jackets at Macy's. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You get me. Absolutely. Okay. So
you're chilling in the coats.
Yeah. So at this point in time, the store owner had enough sense to lock the door and just kind of let us shop because, trust me, Mom did enough damage for everybody.
And this is during the commercials, or was this during Webster?
This was during the commercial and just the very beginning of Webster.
So the phenomenon's kind of just.
Yeah, it's gotten a little crazy right now.
Right.
So they were knocking on the window and they're like, "We want Webster, bring them out," and then it started to get a mob at the front of the store. It's
that's terrifying.
Boutique store.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Bring us Webster, we want them," and they're like.
Like Frankenstein? They have torches? Bring them out here.
So it was crazy. And then suddenly somebody hit the glass and shattered the man. It's it's all storefront glass, right? The doors are So they broke the glass and it was crazy. So the police came in, parted all the people like the Red Sea. It was really crazy. And scooped me up and took me in one police car and took me to the police station. First time I went to a police station.
Did you think you were getting in trouble?
I kind of did.
Yeah, I would imagine you would. I mean, you're 11 years old.
Oh, crap.
I broke that window, sort of.
I'm in the big house.
Yeah. What did I do?
No, they got me it's you go to the old school jailhouse where you put people in that big tall table right there.
Oh yeah. You come in the intimidation table.
Yeah. The big table right there where you first come in, and they got they sit me way up there, and I'm looking down. Oh my God.
This is it.
They're gonna cuff me next.
Yeah.
Right.
Here it is now. The frisking.
Store.
Yeah.
So and I'm just thinking, this is cool.
You were like, this doesn't happen to everybody else.
This is crazy. This is cool.
And you had already experienced a little bit of that in Japan.
Yes.
But you could at least leave Japan.
But
you could
we
go
had
home.
security. It was different. When we would do Japan, everybody would know us. We couldn't go anywhere. We had buses, security. We had police escort.
Right. But then you come home.
But when we come home, nobody knew us. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
We thought, okay, this is kind of
You got a double life going.
So we could go over there, rock out, do shows, come back home, nobody knows us. That's kind of cool.
Perfect.
No.
It didn't last long.
No, they didn't last long.
Would anyone get to you? What would they do if they're like, we want Webster? What do they want you for?
No, that was the weird part. That's the only thing that I can think about on the ride over from the back of the police car over to the station. I'm thinking, what do they mean? We want Webster. Bring us Webster. What
am I gonna do when I get there?
Yeah. they're adults. What am I going to do?
Yeah, they probably don't know about the Burger King card, so that's not
You know what I had in my wallet.
We want that wallet. We want the wallet.
But no, it was great. My mom was just frightened out of her.
Oh, she would be, because, I mean, I think any human being would be frightened in that situation anyway. But also, when the sort of object of it is their child, they're going to have that additional level of terror.
Oh, mom is like protection mode. She's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So they took her in another car to go get her car,
Right.
to then go pick me up at the station.
So could
And-
you not do, like, normal kid stuff after that?
No. Before that, I couldn't do much of it anyway because I was the smallest kid. After that, it was a wrap.
Right. And was there anything that you were like, man, I really miss?
It was difficult.
Yeah,
I mean,
imagine.
you know, you're a kid and you're looking out the window and you seeing other kids play and you're inside.
Yeah.
And that was difficult
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. That's the trade-off, I guess, for...
It was.
Yeah.
Now, but, you know, these kids were playing outside, but my playground was to the confines of a stage.
Right.
So it was a trade-off, but in a very unique way that it took me years to understand.
Right. So at the time, you probably were kind of like, this sucks. But then, sort of as an adult, you had the hindsight to be able to look and say, I kind of got a similar thing, maybe a better thing in some ways out of it. But
Yeah.
it took me a while as an
We're
adult to
getting picked up
reconcile.
in limos to go to the airport. We're not going to a wedding, a funeral, or nothing.
Right,
We're just
right.
going to
Nobody
the airport.
died or
This
got
is
married.
pretty cool. And they got water, juice, and stuff in there.
So you would kind of have to look at your work on the show then, almost as your play as well. Would you try to, or you're so focused on doing the job right? What did you do for relaxing? Like, what was your leisure?
You know, it was fun. You know, right next door was Family Matters.
Yes.
So Michael J. Fox was there, Tina Yothers was
Yep.
there. That Tina and I were bosom buddies.
Yeah, 'cause you guys are around the same
Mostly
age.
same age range. We would always have fun, jump on a bike, ride around the lot, and
Right.
do whatever.
So it's kids that can understand
Yeah.
the issue because they're in the same boat.
And Michael J. Fox was so cool. He was just like, you know, we didn't bother him too much because obviously don't, but he would get it because he grew up with
Right.
child stars.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, cool, come on, hang out. You're up to
Yeah.
What are you guys doing this?
Would you go see like Back to the Future in the theater and then go see Michael J. Fox
Oh my
hanging out
God.
eating lunch?
It was so wild because they were giving him a hard. I can say it, forget it.
Yeah.
They were giving him a hell on that show.
Yeah.
They was not giving him a lot of respect and love.
Oh, yeah.
Then he landed Back to the Future. They had to bow down.
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
And he did that while he was shooting that show. So he's running a sitcom, which as you just said, is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And he's shooting this movie at night.
Yeah.
So they're probably like, are you insane?
Yeah, that was really. It was great to see him rise like
Right.
the Phoenix because it was not great. He was not getting the love and respect that he needed, and he was Alex Keaton was a very funny character.
Oh, yeah. He was the breakout character from
I mean,
that show.
you know, the funniest person on the show. I mean, you know, that's just what
Did
it was.
you watch Family Ties as a fan? Would you watch these shows that you saw people making?
Absolutely, I was
Yeah.
in the bleachers. We'd watch.
So you'd watch them film it?
I was watching them film it.
And then would you
On
watch...
my break. On my break, they'd watch, and then on my break, their run break, they would come.
That's a pretty cool break.
Yeah.
Would you watch it
And
when it was
down the
on?
street was Cheers.
Oh, wow. Wow. So you feel like you've been to Boston a bunch?
And the first year, Happy Days was still doing their last
Right,
show.
the last season.
And they had Jody Loves Chachi.
Yeah.
We were filming right in near where
Lansky's Beauties was probably-
I Love Lucy used to be around.
Oh, yeah. The old Desilu Studios.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then down the lot was Solid Gold.
Oh.
Okay.
Did you visit the Solid Gold set?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that was the best part. I mean, you know, everybody wanted to jam, right?
Yeah.
So, and then across the way, Eddie Murphy had his production.
Okay.
And he was doing stuff on the lot. So I'd come and bother the heck out of Eddie
Yeah.
as much as I could.
Because he ended up doing a pilot with Corky Nemec, who was on the last season of Webster, did a show called What's Alan Watching?
Right.
I think in '89, the year after Webster.
Corey's a
ended.
cool dude.
Yeah, he was.
awesome.
So Webster went for 5 seasons on ABC.
Yeah.
And then you did a 6th season in first run syndication.
Absolutely.
Yep, and that's
You're
where...
the first person to actually get that right.
Really?
Yeah.
I know my stuff. But the kind of, I think the way it worked was that Webster was one of those shows that it was like you'd rush home and watch Tom and Jerry on PIX. Kids would rush home and watch Webster because it was on sometimes twice a day in a lot of markets.
Yeah.
And so it made sense to do this sort of new season in that package.
Yeah.
Because ABC was like, we're done with the show, and you guys, because you had a production company at that point, didn't you?
Yeah, we were producing and giving story ideas, and being very much a big part of the show, because we figure I think I'm the closest person to the age of the show.
Yeah, and you're the face of the show.
Yeah, and they have to listen.
Yeah, so what was it, season 3 that your production company came in?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, I mean, you're what, 14, 15, and you have a production company?
Yeah.
That's gonna be,
so cool.
yeah, I mean, I can't imagine, like, you're kind of the boss at that point.
I never really thought about it in that
That's
way.
good, probably.
And that's probably good. I
Yeah.
never really thought about it in that way. It was always about doing this project, coming up with another idea, doing another good project,
Right.
and just kind of like,
You just want to do good work.
yeah.
So, back to the lot. Did you pretty much have free reign because everybody kind of knew you, so you could kind of just wander around wherever you wanted?
Yes. Absolutely. Oh, PB Playhouse was on Paramount Line as well.
Yes, for season 2. they
And
moved
Star
forward.
Trek was on the line.
Next
so we would
Generation.
go to the commissary to go eat, and Worf would be there in full costume, and all the other stars like, wow.
So at the time, did you recognize as a kid, like, this is amazing? Or were you
Yeah.
just kind of like, it's a day at work?
I thought it was freaking awesome.
Yeah, and you kind of visited all these sets.
I would visit every last one I could, especially on our lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd go to the farthest end of the lot to the other one, and I'd just be riding my behind off of my little bike.
That's incredible. Like, I can't even imagine, like, I would ride to the store and buy a Coke. When I was that age, you're like, there's Worf and Pee-wee. Should I go check out the Solid Gold Dancers? Who's hosting? Is it Arsenio Hall? I don't know.
Oh man,
Yeah.
we love our studio was down the street. When Solid Gold moved out, they
moved into
took
that
over.
studio.
So that was better.
That was even, but would you go to the tapings for that sort of thing?
I would go sneak into some of the tapings.
Yeah.
Even he didn't know I was there half the time.
Would you go in disguise?
Because the sets. No, you just crafty. There's a lot of people there.
Yeah. Just
They
blend
get behind
in.
people
Yeah.
and just peeking. And, he'd be like, "Hey, what are you doing around here?" "Oh, nothing. I gotta go back to work now."
Yeah. I was just looking for Sheila. Yeah.
Oh, that was awesome.
So I mean, that you've described like every kid's dream probably at this point.
It was fun.
Yeah.
One of the fun parts also was watching Golden Child.
Yeah.
And
Did you watch the filming of Golden Child?
I didn't watch the filming of it, but watching the movie Golden Child.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And they shot a piece of the episode in Webster's kitchen area
They
and
used
living
that
room.
set?
So they used our set when we were away for the summer.
Yeah.
They used our set for a portion of the filming in Golden Child.
Now that you mention that, I don't know how I didn't notice that. But did you know they did that, or did you just go to the movie and you're like, "That's our kitchen"?
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I didn't know until after. It's like,
That's
wow,
very,
wait a
very
minute.
strange.
That was like, that's the dumbwaiter.
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
isn't that dumb weird? So in season 2 is when you burn down the apartment building, as we established. You move into this Victorian house, and one of the things that I sort of tend to bond with people my age with is a thing that I call TV casualties, which are things that they saw as a kid that were not intended to terrify them,
Right.
but just stick with them to this day. And there's like 3 or 4 of those from Webster episodes that come up. And I don't know if people come up to you about these, but one of them is from that episode. It's called episode's called Moving On. I think it's episode 6 from season 2.
Okay.
And this is the one where you move into the Victorian house.
Right.
And the creepy thing about this, I don't know if people remember, is the couple that's renting you the house, their daughters run away from home.
Right.
And they have a doll of her in her locked room that they haven't changed, and you get locked in that room, and it's horrific.
Yeah.
For kids. So what? Has anyone told you that was disturbing?
That
for you, or-
was, I was an actor in that moment, and
Right.
it was still terrifying for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
So you saw a real fright on my face too.
because so some prop guy made that doll. That wasn't an off the shelf doll.
It was really weird because it was like one of those sets where we didn't really. I mean, it was only for that particular. I think we were shot in that particular room like twice.
Yeah. And then it became your room. Yeah.
Well, this was in the attic actually. What
Oh, yes.
This
Yeah.
was in the attic.
That's right.
And so you would go through the closet, and there's stairways to go from one room to the next room.
Through the clock.
And that's through the clock in
Yeah.
downstairs and through the closet upstairs, my room. And so you would go there. Now the door was locked, so the only way you can go back out of the room through the shelf was go back through the ladder.
Right.
And so you go in that, you come out of the closet, and you look at it. The light was down just perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
And and you
Chair
got
starts
silhouette,
rocking.
the shot. Oh my God! So I'm like, action.
Yeah. You're legitimately scared at that point.
Cut.
even made you go talk to this doll. Like,
Yeah.
Miss, I can't get out, Miss. And it's just this.
So it was
doll.
kind of spooky. It was
Yeah.
kind of really,
Oh,
really
yeah.
weird. Because I still don't go see scary movies today.
Because of that.
Well, that was helpful. Yeah. I don't see.
So that's one of them. The other one that terrifies everybody is the next season, the Who's to Blame episode, where Webster is left home alone for an hour, brags about it at school, and some older brothers do a home invasion in ski masks. And they, but terrified. Like, I remember as a kid, I was like, oh my God. And I rewatched it recently, and it's much more humorous than I remember it.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was completely terrifying. People don't come up to you and share this with you, or they're like,
I have different experiences where they'll tell me about a show Intel, and some of them I haven't seen in years.
yeah, I mean, why would you filmed well over 100 of them. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, if you came up to me and you were like, hey, remember when you were working that office job and it was a Tuesday morning and you made these photocopies and they were crazy. You remember those? Like, what? No, I'm not going to remember that.
I don't remember every single episode. It's really weird. It's like an out-of-body experience to see an episode. You see yourself. You don't remember the episode, and it's you that's speaking.
Right. But
And
it's you
it's
as someone
wow.
else, too. I mean, it's not.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's your face.
Right.
But I don't remember the dialogue. I don't even remember the show. I don't know how it's going to end.
Right.
It's like a really weird, moment.
Right.
Like,
It's very uncanny to sort of see that, especially as a kid where, you're probably not going to remember a lot of stuff you did at school. If you watch a video of a school play or something, you wouldn't remember it. Never mind, 75 hours of you doing that sort of thing. And it was on so much. I mean, a lot of local markets had Webster clubs. And Boston had a Webster Kids Club. And
Are
you would
you
get a
kidding
kid.
me?
No, Boston, it aired on WLVI TV 56, which was our sort of WPIX.
Wow.
And they had a Webster club kit. And you could sign up and you get a Webster club card with your face on it. You couldn't get anything for free with it. And, they'd do contests and that sort of stuff. And it was merchandised. You had a series of record sets that came out, like Webster in Space, which I've never seen that.
I had no idea that.
Yeah.
Somebody owed me some money.
I know, someone else just I'll show them to you. I have some, but there was a series of like books and records and sorts of things.
Really?
And do you remember being approached for merchandising? 'Cause that
Never,
was
not
never.
once.
Was there ever, did anyone pitch you on a
In
Webster?
Japan, yes. And for Webster, no.
In Japan, there's all kinds of Emmanuel
on
Lewis.
Paramount lot, you saw there was Webster mugs, some stuff
Right,
like
for
that.
people who
But-
work on the show. Or,
Well, but
The gift
but
shop.
it's at the Paramount Comics
right, gift shop or.
store.
Yeah. What was some of the merchandise that you had in Japan?
Oh, they had dolls, they had pencils. I mean, like they are the masters of merchandise.
Do you have some of that stuff?
I have maybe one or two items, not as much as I probably should.
So you don't have a life-size doll sitting in a rocking chair in front of a window in your room that's
no.
locked?
I do have a doll somewhere, but I'm not seeing it in 8.
How old were you this is when you were like 10, 11?
10, 11, yeah.
So how do you react when they're like, here's a doll, it's you? Is it just like, okay?
It's I don't know how to explain it. You see it, you realize that that's what it is, and you realize it's you, and it's just
You don't know any
business.
different. Yeah.
It's business, but it is strange.
Yeah.
So, but everything is strange.
Right.
So
So it's all on the same level,
what
kind of.
Yeah. So what do you do when everything is different? Everything is strange. You speak a foreign language, eating food you're not going to eat. You just,
Right.
you just it's all weird, and
Yeah.
you're like, this is normal
Yeah.
in a very
It sort of
unnormal
levels itself
situation.
out.
So if you're seeing so much crazy stuff all the time, you have a way of
Right.
dealing with it and not dealing with it.
Right.
So I would probably not deal with it or really think about it as much.
Does that ever hit you now as an adult where you're just like, what
Yeah.
was going on?
Oh yeah, I think about it now. I'm like, wow, that's just. If somebody brings it up, that's
Right.
the only time I actually think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Somebody brings it up and says, "What do you think about that?" I'm thinking,
Now that you
yeah,
mention it.
Yeah, what did I think?
Were you ever like a guest on a Japanese game show or like a really crazy?
Yes.
What was the craziest? Was it just insane?
Oh my God, that was so cool. They had this guy, older gentleman, and it was like da 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 da, and he would. That was his theme, right? And then he would go and he would say, he would say something and you have to repeat it back to him
Right.
in the same like mochi, and you got to go back. You got to stay in rhythm.
So it's like a verbal version of the game Simon.
Right, and it's Japanese, right? I don't know sounds. I don't know what
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
but it was something that all the people did. It was the end of the show. He did it every that's the way he always ended the show, and it was crazy. And that was like the thing I remember of one of the crazy game shows I did was.
And you're just like, I guess this is what I do. I don't have no idea. Did I do it right?
you just kind of you just go with it.
Have you ever seen any like videos of that stuff as an adult, or you just kind of?
Yeah, there's stuff on YouTube. I seen someone that was mimicking me as the Japanese,
A
singing
Japanese
performance.
person doing.
So I used to have my look.
Okay.
I had a baseball cap to the side.
Right.
I had a red baseball jacket.
I like
with
it.
the balls, the baseballs
Yep.
on my jacket, blue jeans, sneakers, and I was rocking it like b-boy style, right?
Yeah, classic.
And that's how I would perform the show. And that was my wardrobe for Performance
Yeah.
City Connection. I don't know, 14 pairs at the time. And so I was on YouTube one, and somebody asked me, have you seen anything on City Connection on YouTube? I was like, I don't know it.
I've never looked.
I thought about looking at it. And there was this older guy on his knees doing my whole show.
On his own, or?
Yeah, on stage with some kind of funny hat. I don't know if it had a propeller on it or whatever, but I didn't have a propeller.
Wow.
It was like it was like, they say imitation is the greatest form of flattery, right?
Yeah, but I
It
can't.
was weird. It was,
Yeah, most people probably haven't had an elderly Japanese gentleman parody them as a child.
well, yeah. Well, he wasn't elderly, he was just older.
All right,
It
a
was just-
middle-aged Japanese gentleman. That's
so
different.
It's very, I was like, wow.
That's just surreal.
How do you take that? Like, you guys ask me, how do I take it? What would you think?
I don't think there's a way to, well, in some respect, there's no wrong way to take it. So that's good.
No, you just chalk it up as
It's part of
what it
this
is,
life,
you
yeah,
know?
exactly. Exactly.
Very, very different.
So, in addition, one of my favorite things you did was a Christmas special with Mr. T.
Yeah.
The Christmas Wish. And that was probably between like season 2 and 3 of Webster, I think.
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah. So do you remember how that came about? Was that, did they come to you and say, look, we got Mr. T, we want to do a Christmas special? Or was that something you were like?
So, Mr. T, the A-Team was very hot. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
another TV show we always
Huge,
watched,
yeah.
right? So, loved A-Team, Baracus, and all those guys. So we, Webster's head, A-Team the head, and it was like, okay, let's put these guys together and
Right.
create something. This is
You put A-Team in my
kid,
Webster.
Yeah. So you got Mr. And you got little Webster. So it's like, okay, cool. So it was really nice. We filmed it in New York. It was cold as heck, and it was great. I remember one weekend of that particular time. We was filming around Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah. Did you go to the parade?
And no, we had a different weekend planned. I knew I wanted to go. I was supposed to go spend time with Patti LaBelle at her house.
Of course.
And okay.
Yeah, you were what, 12? That's what 12-year-olds do.
Yeah. And so we were going to spend time at Patti LaBelle's house for Thanksgiving, and it was cool. And then that night we was going to continue on our way to Atlantic City because Gladys Knight was performing,
Right.
and we wanted to go see her as well.
Yeah.
And then the next day, we were supposed to be back on set, so it was going to be a crazy day. So,
Yeah.
So Patty, she's in Philly, so we went from Manhattan, got up early, went over to her house. We had great soul food dinner. She's an awesome cook.
I'm sold.
The first time I ever had pot liquor.
Ooh.
For people that do not know,
Yeah.
pot liquor is the juice from well-seasoned greens,
Yeah.
collard greens.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was.
People, you could probably sell that to health nuts now as like some kind of kale juice or something, and they would be like, "Oh, the antioxidants." But people are like, "We've been eating this for a long time. It's pot liquor."
Yeah, exactly. So we did that. It was great. We had a good time. We hung out with her, and then we drove from Philly to Atlantic City.
Yeah.
And we got there that evening, and we got a chance to see Gladys Knight perform with the Pips.
Very rare performance of the Pips.
Rare performance. Yeah. And her son, Shanga, was in the back, I think, playing percussion.
Right.
And he was a young kid at the time, grown man now, married, all that kind of stuff. And so after the show, we go hang out with Gladys and just have a good time. And awesome show. It's like, I think this is one of the weekends I'll probably never forget for the rest of my life.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're film. All right, let me sum this up. You're 13 years old.
Yeah.
You're filming a TV movie with Mr. T
Yeah.
in New York City at Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
You have Thanksgiving dinner with Patti LaBelle.
Yeah.
Then you go and see Gladys Knight
Yeah.
with the Pips in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
That's pretty memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I slept, because we're, in the limo, we're riding all the way back home, and I just slept the whole way. And when we got there sometime that night, I didn't know how I got to my room. I'm pretty sure I was like some of them kids, just in my arms, just getting back to the hotel.
Full day.
And it was cool. You wake up in the morning and you got to go back to work in Manhattan, and it's just like so cool. I think it was down around the corner from F.L. Schwartz.
Oh yeah, and some of the stuff was shot in there, right?
Yeah.
It's in a department
So
store.
I mean, so the next day I get to go work in F.L. Schwartz.
Right,
I mean,
right.
this.
I gotta go to
somebody
work.
pinched me.
Yeah. Oh jeez. Yeah. And that's a very fun Christmas movie. I watch it every year.
Yeah.
I do.
If they only understood how much fun I had shooting that particular show.
That's good. I mean, you hope that people do, because when you watch something you enjoy from the other side of it, the last thing you want is the people who are like, "That was hell on earth for me.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was my hell." Like you just don't want that kind of thing. Then so it sounds like you had a great time doing all this stuff.
Those were the perks. I mean, those were the times where you started to realize what you were trading off, not going outside, not, doing what the other kids are doing, you staying inside. But on the weekends, we can go do this.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to the Grammys with Michael Jackson.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a little bit cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, other kids aren't like if MTV did a contest to do that, they would have got like 40 million entries. You know what I mean? And you're like, this is my
I
Friday.
thought he was joking at first. I thought he was joking.
When he said, "Come to the Grammys"?
Yeah, he said, "Come on to the Grammys." I was like, okay, yeah, right. And I was like, no, I want you to go come and meet Brooke. Brooke who?
Yeah.
I didn't know who she was. Like,
Right.
I didn't know who she was.
Right.
Brooke Shields? Oh my God, I love her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
like you're gonna be like,
so I
nah.
used to mess with him all the time about Brooke being my girlfriend.
Right.
I know he really liked her a lot. And
Yeah.
He's like, no, I like her. You can't like her. I was like, no, but I liked her first.
I challenge you to a duel, Jackson. Get the pistols, Jackson.
So he would he's like, sit on this side. I'm gonna sit next to her. You sit on this side. And I'm like, she's my date. I'm like, I'm sitting next to her. So
Well, then there was the time I argued with Michael Jackson about who Brooke Shields was the date
So
of.
it was part of our joke. That was our ribbing. Our
Yeah.
ribbing was to like, I'm going after her, he's going after her. But it was great fun and professional with me.
Oh, yeah.
She knew that, we were just having a good time. But he didn't really know that I had worked with her.
Right, he didn't know that
And
you guys
he
had a
didn't know-
history.
Yeah, so I never told him. I just let him think.
He never figured it out.
Yeah.
The classic joke to play on MJ.
Yeah, he didn't know.
So it was like maybe the 86 or 87 Grammys I think you went to.
I believe it. So
Yeah.
I don't know what year it was. It was all going very.
It was a blur.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a blur.
Yeah.
One of the things that I distinctly remember watching you on, and we talked about this a little bit before, and you vaguely remembered it, but I just thought it was cool and weird, was they had you host an episode of A&E's Evening at the Improv.
Wow.
So you're like 14, and you're emceeing a stand-up comedy show at the Improv on A&E. The guests were Craig Shoemaker and Dana Gould, who's one of my favorite comedians of all time. And so you're basically going out and doing a
They were
stand-up
unknown
set.
at the time.
They had just
everyone knew
started.
who they were at the
Yeah.
time. And I remember meeting him with the glass. Or whatever. And he was a cool guy.
Bud Friedman's.
Yeah, Bud Friedman. He was a really cool guy. And, it was interesting. I had seen it,
Yeah, it was on.
performance,
Yeah.
but I did not really know what to do. It was a different sketch for me.
Because what they did, because you weren't pursuing stand-up comedy, that's not why they had you
No,
on.
yeah.
What they were doing was they would have sort of non-comedians but famous people, and it would end up being a lot of ABC people, so I don't know if it was just near the studios or something like that. Like Joanna Kearns would host it one night or like something like that. So they would just have this rotating cast of people, and you did that one. It was very
I
weird.
remember the people you mentioned.
Yeah.
I remembered Bud. I remember the going inside and then making your right, and it's like a really small theater.
Yep.
But everybody's like sardines packed in there, and it's
Yeah.
really cool. And I don't remember any of the jokes. I don't remember any of the dialogue.
Did
that
they
I
give you
said.
that stuff, or were you like, I got some stuff I'm working on, let me try?
I don't even remember.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Because I don't know, like if I was that
It
age.
was part of my work week, so
Yeah, it's just like on the schedule.
in my mind, I'm like doing 60 pages.
Right.
So I've still got the last 60 pages in my head. I'm trying to squeeze out for the next 60 pages.
Did you do a lot of like public appearances? Would you do that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Was that just the mob scene?
It was pretty crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember one time we were doing the Youth in Film Awards, and John Pike was the president of TV of Paramount at the
Yep.
time. And we were letting him know, like, it's pretty crazy. Webster's got really big here, and it's not like it used to be.
Right.
We're like, we need security. And he says, oh, you don't need security. You just show us just
Yeah.
really get off the ground.
We need guys with guns, man.
So I was like, you don't really understand. I mean, we've dealt with this before, and it's getting really, the photographers are
Yeah.
a little bit more pushier than they've ever been before, and they're not hearing the word no.
Yeah.
So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna be your bodyguard. I'll go with you. We'll go to the award show.
Good luck.
He ends up punching the photographer out. That
He
night.
punched. He Sean Penn somebody.
Oh my God! He completely cold decked somebody and got us stowed away somewhere so we'd be all right and safe. And he's like, okay, from now on, you got a security.
I wonder if he knew that was going to happen and he just wanted an excuse to punch somebody.
No.
This job is stressful.
It was just, he saw it firsthand.
It's up in
It
your
wouldn't
face,
stop.
yeah.
It was like, we were bored. No, like, let's like chill out.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, that's-
calm down. Like, they was pushing him.
There's very few people on earth who probably can understand what that's like. I mean, it's just not, you're going out to buy socks and people are like, picture, and you're like, I just want a hot dog. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah,
Which is gonna be
I
tough.
went for the soubrettes. I'm a big fan of New York street hot dogs.
Yeah.
Love that dirty water.
Oh, who doesn't? So you're out in LA, you're doing the show. The last season, they had Corky Nemec, who was in Parker Lewis later, which is a favorite show of mine. And did you have things you want to do next? Was there like, what's the next move for you? Did you want to do movies? Did you want to do another show?
At that point in time, toward the end of Webster, Mom was very adamant about us going to college.
Right. You got to have a real life.
Yeah,
Kind
she's
of
like,
in her
you know, all of this is great. We've got great runs. We can do whatever we want, but you need an education.
Right.
And that's non-negotiable.
Yeah. And it ended when you were like 18. You were just 18, probably?
Yeah. So I was about 17, 18 when I was starting to do that. I think I got a scholarship from Howard.
Okay.
And my mom just flat turned it down. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And she's like, you got a scholarship, because I did reading, Billy came in.
Right.
Mom took care of that, but she was like, you got a scholarship, but they could give it to some other kid that actually needs it. You could pay your own.
Wow. She's like, you don't need it. Because
And you pay your
the
own.
more famous you get, the more successful you get. It's weird. You pay for less things.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
It works either one way or the other. Either
Right,
you
right.
pay less or you pay twice as much.
Right. So maybe it balances out at the
Yeah,
end now.
I don't know. So it depends. So it was like, okay, so I thought I'd be going to USC or
Right.
I'd be going to NYU.
Right.
And so it was like we're moving to Atlanta, which I thought was cool. It was our summer home we had there.
Yep.
And I was like, you're going to go to Clark. I had never heard of Clark.
Right.
I had heard of Morehouse.
Right.
And I wouldn't mind being, going to Spelman.
Right.
Spelman's an all-girls school.
That's a sitcom. I'd watch a sitcom with you going to Spelman, like bosom buddies.
I was trying to get a dorm room in Spelman. They had me a nice spot in the basement. Mom got a hold of that. I said, oh, heck no.
Can you build a ladder that goes up to the roof in this dorm
Like,
room?
no, you're not staying in the dormitories. No.
Right.
They're gonna
Clocks
corrupt
in
you.
this dorm. So you go to college and you just.
I went to Clark, Atlanta University.
What was that like? Where you didn't go to regular school. You got taught on the set by a tutor, I imagine.
Most of the year, yeah. I did have to have seat time.
Okay.
I went to Midwood High School in Brooklyn, New York. Big ups to New York. I did to Satellite Falls, my junior high school. PS 256,
Right.
Benjamin Banneker, and Bed-Stuy and Kosciuszko. That was my high school there. But I actually I went to all those schools in Brooklyn.
Okay.
When we were off, I'd go to school.
And would the kids be cool with it? Or would you get a million questions about, like, what's Hollywood like? Tell me about Brooke Shields. Are you winning the battle with Michael Jackson for her
it
love?
was different because when I started junior high school, I had to have security walk me to every class.
Really?
When I went to high school, I had security walk me to every class. So it was very
They stayed away.
different. It
Yeah.
was, a little bit more intimidating. It was
Right.
it was different than all the years that I had before then.
Right.
And then when I went to college, I had a car. Paramount had given me a nice brand new Mustang,
Excellent.
convertible for my birthday. That was pretty rad.
Yeah.
That
That's a
was
good.
hot.
Did it have a big bow on it?
That was hot.
I always wonder when people get a car as a gift if it actually has a big bow on it.
Great bow on it. It was
I knew it! I knew it! I've only seen it in commercials, and when people actually get the car, there's a bow on it.
It was a beautiful, big old red bow. This white 5.0 Mustang convertible with
Nice.
the plaid red seats in it. It was awesome.
It sounds awesome.
And then the next day, my mom gave me her present,
Right.
which was the actual gift that I had hoped for, but I was very excited about the 5.0 Mustang.
Well, you would be.
But my mom came in the next day and gave me 300E Mercedes.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's a dilemma we've all faced. Tell me about the bow on the Mercedes.
The Mercedes didn't need a bow. It was just, it was parked in front of the house, and it was a car that was parked there, and I thought, she says, come on out, let me, I'm going to show you something.
Yeah.
And of course, didn't tell me what it was or that I was getting it.
So you were legitimately surprised.
So I was legitimately
Because it
surprised.
sounds like at this point in your life, given everything we've talked about in the last hour or so, I feel like you're a difficult person to surprise. You go, hey, here's a doll of you. Your single is #1 in Japan. This is Patti LaBelle's Thanksgiving. You'd be like, yep, yeah, it's a Mercedes, big deal.
No, I saw the Mercedes, I'm like, wow.
Did you have to get rid of one?
I kind of did.
Okay.
I had to choose. And my brother, the middle brother between, I'm the youngest, my brother Chris, my middle brother did not have a car.
Okay.
And here I am now, after my birthday, I've got 2 cars. So I had to, they didn't make me give away the car,
You didn't have a choice, though.
but I didn't really have
Yeah.
a big choice.
Yeah.
It was, your brother don't have a car, and you've got 2.
But you're like, but I need a weekend car.
Why don't you? And I was like, but that was a gift. And you don't give away gifts.
Yeah, that's rude.
Is there a law or something or about
There's tax
giving away gifts?
implications.
I don't want to give away gifts. I said, let me think about it for a while.
Yeah.
So
6 years.
I worked very hard for that. Come on, dude. So I get up, the first time I get the car, as soon as I get in the car, I get a call from JP, John Pike. How's you like your whip? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right.
He says, because I hadn't gotten to the car yet.
Okay.
So I was like, how's your birthday?
Yeah. It's great.
This is good.
Yeah.
Says, we're on our way somewhere. Really? Okay, well, I'll talk to you for a few minutes.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
he's stalling.
He wanted to be on the phone with
Yeah.
you when you saw it.
So I was like, so I see this car with a bow on it. He goes, there's a car with a bow on it. He goes, happy birthday, guy.
You thought he was kidding?
So I was like, are you kidding me? So it was a whole big thing. So
Yeah.
John Pike, so freaking awesome.
This is to make up for punching that guy.
Yeah.
When I was your security.
This is all those years of getting him his nice coffee ice cream.
Yes. You would pick him up coffee?
Yeah, I did. I loved ice cream as any kid would.
Well, as any human being on
There
earth
was
would.
this place called Giggles that served ice cream. And I would ask whoever was around.
You'd do a run?
I would have to do an ice cream run.
You would go yourself?
Well, yeah, with my mom.
Yeah.
So like, okay, what do you want? What do you want?
I'm going to start picking up ice cream for people if it means I'll get a Mercedes or a Mustang at some
and I
point.
guess it paid off, So I was like, so I called him on the phone. So I'm going to go get some ice cream. You want you love coffee.
Yeah,
You want
he
some
does.
coffee ice cream? Okay, buddy, go pick me up. I said, okay. So I love the bubblegum ice cream and the,
So one time for my birthday, my parents gave me some coffee ice cream. And then my grandmother gave me some chocolate ice cream. And they were like, you have to give one to your sister. It was tough. So I sympathize. I can sympathize with you. I feel like when you were telling me that, I was like, man, this is just like my situation. So sadly, we're kind of running out of time, but and I could bother you forever with stories about this. But you now hold the record for my guest who's appeared on the cover of TV Guide the most, previously held by Julia Duffy, who had two TV Guide appearances. You have 4 that I've counted, and maybe
really?
some more. You've appeared 4
I
times.
remember, I think, 2.
Yeah. The one I have brought here, which is from
Yes.
'84, I think that was the first cover. And then there's a Christmas one with you and Alex Karras. But my question about that is, obviously you're dealing with this fame. You have to have a security guard go with you places. But at that point, TV Guide was literally the largest print-run magazine in the world. So for a week, you would see millions of your face everywhere. Did you notice that? Did you see it?
Every time we went to the grocery store.
Yeah, and when you're checking out. So
check out, it's right there.
That would have blown my mind.
It was pretty wild. It's like, there's me. Al 10, Al 9, Al 8.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to do
that was
that.
pretty cool.
Did you guys have a subscription to TV Guide? Did you get it in your house?
Yeah, we had to get that.
Would you look at it like a business expense?
We might appear on it again. We might need, we're gonna need to see that.
Yeah. So you wouldn't know if you were going to be on the cover or not until you saw it?
Well, we did the photo shoot.
Right.
The photo shoot for it, and so we knew that that's what they were, working on and doing. So that was a photo shoot.
Very nice, very nice. Well, you hold the record until I can find someone who gets more than 4 TV Guide covers, which is pretty impressive. You are the record holder.
I appreciate that. I didn't realize I held the record.
You absolutely hold the record. It may be a long-standing record, I think. So, finally, I always ask my guests, TV Guide is not just informative. It has opinions, and it cheers and it jeers. And if you could have a cheer and a jeer for television, either now or when you were working in it or whenever it was, what would they be?
I don't even know. You literally took me around the world.
I know. This needs time to sink in here.
I don't know.
Are there things you watch now?
Oh yeah, I love.
What's your favorite stuff?
How to Get Away with Murder.
That's a TV show, or are you just telling me that you like doing that?
No, it's a great TV show.
show.
Shonda Rhimes, she's killing it right now.
So you like dramas and sort of, you don't really watch a lot of comedies, I imagine? Do you get into business mode when you watch them? You're like, they could have done that better.
It's different. It's like it's a different way that we used to do it, right?
Yeah.
So you realize, it's all funny and there's no substance in it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be by any means. There's no rule in comedy or entertainment for that matter.
It's not that lesson that you guys would have.
But there's no caveat that you end up with. You just have something to maybe tell, but you don't leave with a jewel.
It's not television so much, especially entertainment television and the sitcom, isn't the sort of catalyst of social change like it was in sort of the post-70s world where Norman Lear...
Bill Cosby did a really good job of it. You have a lot of different shows that was doing, but you don't really... I love the History Channel. I love Bear Grizzly. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I love the Alaskan frontier, and that's just,
deep sea fishing.
Oh my God. I love deep sea fishing.
Yeah.
And,
we'll have to go.
What are those, the pickers?
Yeah, American pickers.
The American pickers? That is so cool.
Do you collect stuff? Are you a collector of things?
No, but they make me want to.
Yeah, you want to just drive around?
I drive by the, what do you call where people are selling stuff outside?
Junkyards. No, flea market. Like a flea market.
Well, people selling their old stuff.
Yard sale, garage sale,
I look at yard sales and the flea markets, I'm thinking, there's a jewel in here somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
There's something that's valuable. I need to go.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at.
Here's my favorite purchase I bought at a flea market. And so I bought this old Christmas sign, and it's from a store, and it's Santa Claus, or it's like, don't forget to order your Christmas something. And he's on the phone, and I'm ordering it, and the lady goes, that's a very special sign. And I'm like, really? She goes, belonged to a famous person. I go, really? Who is it? She goes, you heard of Huey Lewis? And I go, yeah. And she goes, that was Huey Lewis's grandmother's sign. So there's some jewels in there. You never know. There are some jewels. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and talking to me. Thank you guys for coming out. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much. Thanks to the Boston Comedy Festival, and we'll see you again. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim McHugh.
What else can I say? Emmanuel Lewis, amazing stories. I could have talked to him all day. Really fun episode. I had a great time chatting with him. I have nothing else to say. It was just fantastic. Really good guy. So please let me know if there are other places we should do live TV Guidance Counselor podcasts. If there are comedy festivals or festivals in your town, let me know. I will do my best to convince them to have me there. If there are other guests you'd like to see on the show, let me know. You can email me at ken@icanread.com or at tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com. You can sign up for our email list at tvguidancecounselor.com, where we will tell you all about any live events that we have coming up, or you can like us on Facebook, where you'll find out things there as well. And as always, we'll have a brand new studio episode of TV Guidance Counselor on Wednesday, and I'll see you then. Again, big thanks to Emmanuel Lewis for doing the show, and to the Boston Comedy Festival for helping me put this together, and to everyone who came out to see the show live, and to you for listening. So we'll see you again again next time on TV Guidance Counselor.
And then my grandma was like, "Pigs, pigs. Who the hell got a piss? Just go to the bathroom."